Kitting out a four-wheel drive van for life on the road gives you the luxuries of van life while still being able to reach those remote, hard to reach places. Today we're going to meet a guy who's done just that and created a cozy adventure van. Let's go have a look. So Hadrien, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And how are you doing?
Yeah, really good, really good.
And your van is, wow, this is really, really cool.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's an old girl, 25 years old, no? So her name
really?
is, her name is Rose. It's a 1999 Mercedes Sprinter, like four-wheel drive.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
It's really cool, yeah.
Four-wheel drive vans are almost like the dream, aren't they?
It is, yeah. Take them anywhere, take them on the beach, in the bush, and you got, everything inside. So yeah, it's been a dream. I've had her for like 7 years now, so it's been really good.
Have you been living in her full time or taking her on trips away?
I used to in the past. I've had her for like 7 years and probably put 80,000 kilometers in the 7 years. And yeah, 5-6 years ago, I used to live almost like 2 years in it, either, living in Sydney and then traveling around the East Coast. And at the moment, it's just a weekend adventure mobile, which is
really
great.
Cool, yeah.
It's great. Everything is like already set up. You can just like go on the Friday evening, you got everything, fridge, solar panels, kitchen, and then go on a little adventure.
And that's the best thing about van life, isn't it? Like you don't have to pack your camping gear with you. It's just already in the van, ready to go.
Everything is here. And when you go camping with friends that have to like set up the tent or the swag or like the kitchen and everything, and then you're just like, oh, I forgot the salt. And you're like, oh, salt and pepper, olive oil, I got everything inside.
That's perfect, yeah. So good, so good. You said that you lived in the van for a couple of years before it was a weekender. What actually got you into van life in the first place?
I think Australia is like the perfect country for it, You got like so many beautiful sceneries and landscape and like beaches everywhere. And, I always seen people with like a van. And then I started with like a classical little Volkswagen T4 that was already converted. And then I was like, oh, I need more space. I got too many toys to carry between like the surfboard, sometimes the motorbike. And yeah, I was on the hunt for literally like a 4x4 van. That's what I was looking for. I was like, it's the best of both worlds. You can take it off-road, but at the same time you can like live in it. So yeah, like was looking for one and finally found one. So it's been good.
So what were you doing for working when you were living full time? Were you just completely traveling, or did you work and live in the van at the same time?
So when I converted the van, I had like a full-time job working in digital advertising. So, allowed me to like buy the van, build everything, like take time, and then left my job. I had like a photography business with a friend. So I was doing that on the road. I could like work remotely. And I like a bit of saving also to like be able to like travel and explore the country. And at the moment, yeah, I'm back to like a full-time job, so that's why I like keep it on like the weekend. I do work remotely, so sometimes I'll drive the van to like the beach, work from the van. It's pretty good, I got like my little setup.
I did see you've got a little LCD monitor inside.
I do, do like my team meetings and have like the sound of the waves behind crashing.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so good, yeah.
And you can like in between meetings go for like a little swim, a little surf. I think it's really good, and having a van gives you like so much flexibility in terms of like where you want to be, what you want to do, and you also meet like so many people on the road. So I really like it. I think like it's a really cool community, and it's also I'm always curious about people's van. It's always like that. Like you want to like peek inside and like, oh, what did they do inside? What's the setup? And then it also gives you like so many ideas because everyone will have different build and different setup. So it's really good to like.
Yeah, I always find myself having a little nose in people's vans and seeing what it's looked like. I just can't help myself.
Yeah, like I can see. So I got tinted windows all around, and they're like pretty dark at the back. And sometimes, I'm just like, cruising inside, like reading a book, and I can see like people, like going, they cannot see from the other side, so they just like put their head, and it's kind of like, hi. It's a funny one.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. Yeah, because your windows are pretty dark actually. You can't really see much through at all.
Yeah, I really wanted to have like that kind of like private space, and especially when you do a bit of like stealth camping, or like either like by the beach. I'm a pretty quiet person, with the van. Not here to like create a big party, but then just have like that privacy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, keep the outside out sometimes. But then when you have the doors open, then you're like more than happy to have a chat with people.
Yeah. It's always funny. It's always like the same type of people coming to it's like middle-aged men, like 45 plus, coming to have a look. It's like, whoa, that's a cool van. It's really funny.
So did you build the van yourself?
Yeah, I did. So I got it as like an empty shell. So it's like an ex-army, ex-defense force, so like the ADF. And then built it with friends that are like way more skilled than me, which is good, like electricians, carpenters. But yeah, it was a really interesting process, took a couple of months. And then I feel like a van is always a work in progress in some ways. There's always things you can change, and I changed so many things over the year, like redid the ceiling with I wanted like a wooden one. During COVID, I had nothing else to do, so I was like, okay, let's change the ceiling. And then the fridge was like in a different spot, and I was like, oh, I wanted like a sliding drawers under the bed, so like raise the bed and then put like the sliding drawers. So it's always like a little work in progress, which I like also.
Yeah, you always feel like you need to just improve. It's never perfect the first time. And then once you've lived in it a little bit, you're like, oh, I might change this, I might change that.
Yeah, exactly. It's never perfect. And there is only one way to know what works for you is by trying. Yeah. And I know a few years ago, I did the passenger seat on a swivel. And it just creates that feeling of space a lot more. It just opens the space, and you can have someone sitting on the bed, someone sitting on the seat to have a chat, and it's just little things like that. And the only way to know is by trying,
definitely.
And living in it, and then oh yeah, I need something a bit different.
Yeah, definitely having a swivel seat makes you, I can see through here, makes it look like it's got a load more space than just closed off.
Yeah, 100%. And then really nice, because you got some of them sometimes, or sometimes you just want to be cozy inside. I like a screen that I use as a privacy screen, but I use as for a video projector screen, and be able to watch movies and things like that, or have a Chromecast with Netflix. So it's creature of comfort. Sometimes even if you're in the van, you kind of just want to stay cozy at home and watch a movie.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you're living in it full time, if you're in away for a weekend, you probably camp in or around the fire maybe. But if you're in full time, you just like to have those nights where you're just Netflix. Yeah,
you need those nights. Yeah, I feel.
Should we have a little tour of the van then?
Of course, yeah. We can start with the outside, I guess. I guess what makes the van look really good, it's this really big bull bar. Safety feature, but also look really cool. And we got the two massive 9-inch spotlight, the LED LED bar, and I also got my mechanic to do a custom snorkel here. Not that I ever took the van in really deep water, but if I want to, I can. So
And how does it go off-road?
It goes well. It won't be as good as a proper Prado, Land Cruiser, but yeah, I took it to Fraser Island, took it to the beach. It's been really good. Using the right tire pressure on the sand, it goes. So yeah, no issues so far, no complaints. So yeah, on the outside, I got those recovery tracks that convert as a table, in case you get stuck on the beach. But it's also nice. You just can pop that down.
Oh wow, that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, little coffee in the morning. You always need extra space, I find. So it's really good. Then the classic awning. So this one is a 270 degrees that will go over the back door. Over here you got the solar panel. So it's 240 watts of flexible solar panels. And then, yeah, the little ladder to be able to go on top.
Nice. And have you had many more coffees on top, or do you sit on there when you're...
I tried to create it as the lounge too, because it's a metal frame. It's not really nice to sit on it. But I used to put those little foamy, gym foamy stuff that I had the 50 per 50 centimeters one, and just go in the morning. It's really nice to do a little surf check and have a little coffee over there. And then, yeah, the surf rack on the side here, which is really good to leave some space inside for all those big items, and really easy to like, you know, when I go like long drive, I will just tie them properly.
Oh, that's a really cool having the surfboard on the side.
It's really cool. It's like, the funny thing is actually just a rack from Amazon. It's just like a wall rack.
It looks like the ones that you put on the side of a moped.
Yeah, almost. It's just like screwed to the cage. The back, it's like where I've got my kitchen. So I've got like, you know, a lot of like storage and drawers with everything. And then I use that as a little outdoor kitchen, which has been really good.
Oh wow, that comes out really far.
Yeah, and then you got the legs for support, but you know, it's perfect with like the little windbreaker, so it's perfect for cooking.
And that's on the heavy duty draw runners?
Yeah. And then you also like can even come out further if I wanted with like this one.
Oh wow, yeah, that's really cool. So you bought that whole unit then from?
Yeah, I bought like this unit, and then yeah, a lot of storage.
Yeah, nice. And I see you've gone for, well, it looks like a fixed bed, but
it's well, so you can see in terms of like modification, I was like, oh, at the start the bed was like here, and then I like a bigger mattress. And then I decided to, you know, change things, put like the fridge on the sliding door, so I had to like put the bed higher. But then because the bed was higher, then I decided to have a smaller mattress like this. I'm still able to, you know, sit and have enough like headroom almost to sit.
Just enough headroom for you.
Just enough
Maybe
headroom.
if you don't wear the hat, then I think you got it.
Just the perfect.
That's so good. So, before we go inside the van, I just wanted to have a look at these. These are the fly nets that you have.
Yeah, it's a easy one to you know, screw it down or like zip it down. It's perfect. You can sleep with the door open, and then keeps all the mozzies outside, which is what you want.
Yeah, there's a lot of mozzies around, yeah.
Because they're annoying.
And is that hooked into the rubber seal?
It is, yeah. So it was like bigger, and then like cut it to like fit that. So it's just perfect. I just remove all the rubber seal, and yeah, it stayed forever. And then, you know, like a nice like little entry step. I was like, I said to my carpenter friends, I want to feel like it's like a luxury yacht. It was like, I've got you covered. So he did like this nice like little step.
Yeah, nice. Well, let's take a look inside the van then.
Yeah,
I really like
perfect.
the colour scheme that you've gone for. You know, you've gone with the classic kind of like white simple look, and then cut it up with the nice dark worktops, which always works well.
Yeah, I think like the white wall is like really good because it's like create like so much. It's really bright and nice, and I want you to also balance with like a wooden ceiling and like that, like dark wood a bit everywhere. Also have like this feeling you're like a bit at home, you know, have like a carpet inside. And
having the rug definitely makes a difference. Yeah.
And it's also like really good, you know, because like when you live in a van and like especially by the beach, like your best friend is probably like this brush to like remove the sand and everything, and actually having a carpet is perfect. You know, you can just like take the little rug out
and then just
shake it off, and then yeah,
that's so good.
So yeah, here under the bed I've got like the fridge, which is a 65-liter fridge freezer combo. That's like on a little sliding drawer, you know, which is like easy to access this way. I also use it as a seat for my little workspace.
Oh, nice.
So it's perfect, you know, I can have like my computer here, and you know, I like have this screen that also used as like a TV with a Chromecast, so you know, it's on a little hinge, so I'm able to like slide it over and, you know, watch a movie in bed if I want. Then classic kitchen with the sink, with the water running. So I've got 52 liters of water in a tank under the van. Then a lot of like kitchen space, diesel heater, storage with all the lights. So like the lights are on a dimmer here, for example, you know, to create that like little cozy atmosphere.
Oh yeah, because sometimes the LED lights can just be a bit too harsh, can't
they? Can be just too bright sometime at night with like the switch just here. So solar panels are above here, and then the solar controller is here, and then I got like the second battery hooked here, which is an 120 amps AGM battery.
Oh, nice.
I'll probably like switch to solar or to like lithium at some point.
Yeah.
You know, like a really big one. But so far it's been like enough, because technically I only have like the lights, the water pump, the fridge running, and like an inverter, which is also here under the seat.
Yeah. So that's perfect enough for a weekend away easily.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And what size is the little TV that you've got there?
I think it's like a 20-inch maybe, but yeah, it's actually like good enough size. And at the back I got like the little like Chromecast. So what I do, I just have like a little Wi-Fi dongle, and I can, you know, have like Netflix or YouTube and use that. It's also, I use it to like work, which is perfect. And then under here I've got like a lot of storage for like clothes, you know, which is maybe I think 30 centimeters deep.
Oh, nice. So you've
it's
got
perfect.
loads of space down there.
Yeah, I've got like a lot of space here, and same like a lot of like storage above here, which is really good. Also like little space.
Yeah, you have loads of room in this van.
Lots of room. At the same time, I'm still able to have a double-sized bed, which is like pretty good. I guess if I didn't have like the storage, I probably could be able to put a queen. You know, it would be like wide enough, but just a double is like really good.
It's good enough.
It's good enough. And then yeah, like I did the bed into like a little like day bed, so I can just put that and then, you know, have like a little read, like as a little day bed, and you know, look at the ocean or the mountains depending where you are.
Oh, amazing. And then I can also see then that you have the roof fan and the wall fan as well.
Yeah, so classic. I feel like everyone has like that Sirocco 2 fan. Best fan I ever had. It's so quiet.
It's so nice as well to have that like extra breeze when it's hot.
Yeah, you need that extra breeze, and it's like you can really put in like every like angle and direction. And then I've got like the ceiling fan, which is always scary to cut a hole into the ceiling, but you know, it's pretty good. And then I got like extra speakers at the back, so one on the roof and one on the side also here.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's so cozy in here. I love it, especially the ceiling as well. This is such a, you said you did this in COVID, and the natural wood look is so nice.
Yeah, I think it's like create like a real nice difference. So before the ceiling was just like fabric, like that gray printer fabric. And then as a result, I lost a bit of height because I did it like flat. But yeah, I think just, you know, just create that nice cozy atmosphere. You know, work on like the little cut on the angle, but yeah, it fits perfectly. And also like between the roof and the ceiling, you know, we put some insulation, so it's also really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got like the diesel heater that's a permanent feature in the van now. I don't use it often, to be honest, because, you know, Australia is a pretty good country for that, but I went to the snow, or I try to go to the snow every year, so it's always like a good feature to have. This one is super easy to, it's like a plug and play one. I didn't bother, you know, hooking up to like my diesel tank and have a little one. So the heater is there, and then you got like the reservoir, like the tank of diesel just here. So, you know, super easy. You got like the little remote to like control it remotely, and then the exhaust goes on the side and under the van. You know, all the fumes go out this way.
Oh, amazing. And does it, you get really toasty warm in there?
You get really toasty. It just like warms really quickly because it's like quite a small space. So in a couple of minutes when you're at the snow, it's like actually like really nice. And then, you know, during the night, if you wake up and you're a bit cold, or just before waking up, you can like turn it on for like a few minutes. Gets cozy.
Yeah, I love going
really
camping
nice.
in winter, and like that first like coming out of the duvet when you're cold is like, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, 100%. And then you have your like little coffee, dress up. So yeah, I didn't bother like removing it. It's always there as a result.
Yeah, perfect. So you built the van yourself. What do you think was the most challenging and the most rewarding part of doing it?
Yeah, I did build the van myself, but I was also with like a few friends that are, you know, carpenter and electricians. I think the most challenging part is knowing what you want and, you know, like have like that planning phase. You know, do you want to have like a fixed bed, or do you want to have like that bed, you know, like that slides into a sofa? Do you want like a lot of storage? You know, just like understand that, and then you need like the correct tools. I think it's also like a good thing, you know, when you like, especially when you work with wood, or, you know, doing like all the electrics, because like things can go wrong when you do like those things.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think having like the correct tools, and, you know, surrounding yourself with people that have also like the correct knowledge or have their opinion is also like a really important thing to do.
And did you do much planning? Like, how was your planning process for the van? Did you plan it all before? Did you kind of like wing it as you went on?
I kind of like winged it as I went on. I like, you know, had a few ideas, and I knew I was gonna have like a fixed bed, because it was like a lot easier. I had like storage for like clothes. I was gonna have like, you know, like a little kitchen space, but then it kind of like really evolved. I already thought that, you know, this will be like my kitchen space, but no, I ended up cooking outside, because it's kind of like annoying to cook inside, and, you know, I don't have like the ceiling, so you were like crouch. And there's always things I will change, you know, for like that. For example, I will probably put one that you can hide into the kitchen panel. You know, you can put like something on top, like a wooden panel to like hide it. So, you know, I just thought that, I was like, yeah, that would fit perfectly, that would do the job. But then probably with a bit more planning, I could have tweaked a few little things. But to be honest, so it's been really good, you know, like a lot of like storage a bit everywhere.
Yeah, nice. And what are your future plans with the van and with van life?
That's a really tough question. I mean, I love to like take it away on the weekends. I'll probably escape Sydney every 2 weekends with the van. Actually thinking like setting this one just to build like a smaller van, actually, because I kind of like realized I don't need all that space anymore. It was perfect when I was like traveling in it, but for what I use it at the moment, you know, just weekend, going like camping with friends, going for like a little surf trip, and just like me, I could totally have like a little van, smaller footprint.
Something easier to drive around the city.
Something easier to drive around the city.
Something a bit more modern. That's, yeah.
You know, just I'm getting old. I need like those automatic gearbox. No, but yeah, something a bit smaller. Something that also can fit into a car park. You know, when you go like grocery shopping, it's yeah, there is nowhere where I fit. Even like, I almost got stuck driving near Canberra because I like surfboard on like the roof, and I entered a bridge that was like limited at like 2.8 meters, something like that. I was with a friend, and we were like, I had my friend sitting on the bull bar just like looking, and we were just like scraping by like 1 centimeter. We like made it through, but I would have liked to like turn around and, you know, do like 150 kilometers back to like go a different way, because I almost didn't fit under a bridge.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, thanks for your time, and yeah, you've built an amazing van here. Really,
No,
really
thanks
good.
a lot. Thanks for having me, and yeah, thanks for having a chat.
Thank you.